guys, thank you so much for tuning in to AmysCrypt. Today I'm really excited to talk to you about and show you around all of the haunted places I visited whilst in Paris. I spent quite a bit of time in the city and was able to check out plenty of spooky places with dark history and really awesome ghost stories. In this video, I will cover 8 of the most haunted places in Paris. If you're interested in seeing investigations or longer videos on any one of these locations, make sure to hit subscribe because I'm going to have a lot of videos coming out from all over Paris very soon. To kick things off, let's visit a very spooky and beautiful cemetery known as Père Lachaise. This place has a number of celebrity interments, important historical figures, and plenty of ghosts. The Père Lachaise cemetery dates back to the early 1800s and contains an enormous amount of graves. Some have estimated the number to be between 300,000 and 1 million. So you can definitely spend a day getting lost inside this cemetery. For those of you looking for ghosts, swing by the burial place of the former Prime Minister out of tears. He is said to still haunt the cemetery, hangs around the area where he is buried, and many people claim that he has tugged on their clothes as they're walking past. Another resident ghost of the Père Lachaise cemetery is that of author Marcel Proust. He is said to rise from his grave each night, looking for his lost lover who is unfortunately buried in another cemetery. Finally, no visit to the Père Lachaise cemetery is complete without paying tribute to Jim Morrison, lead singer of The Doors. Though his grave is one of the most vandalised in the cemetery, just vandalised by fans I should add, it is also reportedly one of the most haunted. Many people have claimed to see Jim Morrison's apparition wandering around near his grave, and it's even been reported to have been captured in a photograph. Our next most haunted place in Paris is known as the Rue des Champs. This short and narrow little roadway lies extremely close to Notre Dame. Though it is rarely noticed or even walked down, it is still one of the most haunted places in Paris. This narrow passageway saw its claim to paranormal infamy during the early 1900s. Disease was sweeping through Europe and Paris was no exception. On the Rue des Champs, there was an old hotel where children sick with tuberculosis were quarantined within. The children lived in this hotel and were often locked within the bottom floors to stop them from interacting with people and spreading the disease further throughout the general public. That is until a great storm swept through Paris and flooded the Seine River. After the river broke its banks, it filled the area of this small road, flooding the rooms in which the children were sleeping and locked within. Sadly, all of these sick children died without a means of escape. To this day, many believe that those children remain trapped within the area of the Rue des Champs. Passers-by have even claimed to hear the whispers and sounds of playing from children when there is nobody around. Parc Montsouris is our next haunted place in Paris. This stunning little city retreat in no way looks like it should be haunted, but its past has many dark aspects that make the possibility of a haunting very plausible. It is said that this park is actually the place where the initial tests for the guillotine were conducted, and this is thought to have left behind a ghost or two. There are many people who have reported to sight headless ghosts wandering through the park. In addition to these headless ghosts, another ghost is said to wander the park. The man who the park was named after, actually, he was supposedly killed in that area by bandits. Our next haunted stop in Paris is the Tuileries Gardens. This magnificent park was once the royal gardens for a palace which stood in the same area. Today, it is all that is left of the Tuileries Palace, which was burnt down in 1871. The Tuileries Gardens and Palace are said to have once been haunted by what is known as the Little Red Man. He is sometimes described as a devil, a goblin, or a ghost, and always wearing red. He supposedly showed himself to many prominent figures within the gardens and within the Palace of Tuileries. Sightings of the Little Red Man are usually paired with death. People would generally capture a glimpse of him or interact with him just before an execution, for instance, though he is also said to have interacted with Napoleon on a regular basis and even helped him out with his military strategies. The Notre Dame Cathedral is certainly one of the most visited and popular attractions within the city of Paris, but could it be one of the city's most haunted places? The cathedral certainly looks the part, with impressive gargoyles and sinister looking carvings adorning its exterior. So it comes as no surprise that it is said there are a few ghosts roaming its halls. It is said that the ghosts of various kings and monks walk the halls of Notre Dame. There are also two separate tales of women who jumped from the top of the cathedral to commit suicide. Many have claimed to capture sight of the apparitions around the roof of the cathedral. And to add in a little extra spookiness to this story, some say that the devil himself may have played a part in constructing the front door to the cathedral. Our next spooky destination in Paris is actually no longer in existence, though it was a place that saw great amounts of death, and it comes as no surprise that there are stains of paranormal activity it has left behind. The old gallows Montfaucon are today only signalled by a signpost declaring that they once stood in that area, though they were at one point in time the main place for executions within the city of Paris. Many were hanged here, and then their bodies were left to rot and decay on display to many people, which would act as a deterrent. They were constructed and used in the 13th century right through to the 1600s, and then later dismantled because they started to rot away in the 1700s. Although there are no visible signs of the gallows left today, it does remain one of the most frightening places in Paris. Many people have heard disembodied voices in that area, which are mostly described as moans and the rattling of chains believed to be the victims executed in that area. The Eiffel Tower is certainly the most prominent landmark within Paris, and it surprisingly makes its way onto this list for being one of the most haunted places in Paris. There are a few ghost stories circulating around the Eiffel Tower, and they are pretty grim, tragic love stories. The first of these tells of a man proposing to his girlfriend at the top of the tower, and after she refuses his proposal, he gets a bit angry, pushes her, and she falls to her death. Another of these stories is that a man proposes to a woman. She gets so much shock from this that she backs up, loses her footing, and suddenly falls over the edge to her death. These stories seem to date back to the 1920s, and many people have claimed to spot a young woman dressed in 20s clothing hanging around the top of the tower before suddenly disappearing. More disturbingly, a lot of people have also reported to hear screams that they believe to have been a woman falling from the tower. Before I get to the #1 most haunted place in Paris, I wanted to give a very special mention to the Palace of Versailles. Though this one lies just outside of Paris in Versailles, many visitors to Paris will make the trip out to visit this magnificent former royal residence. The Palace of Versailles is famed for many reasons, yet makes this list for its resident ghosts, which include none other than Queen Marie Antoinette. Now for my #1 pick for the most haunted place in Paris, the Paris Catacombs. It likely comes as no surprise that the Paris Catacombs are often cited as the most haunted place in all of Paris. They consist of a tunnel system that spans hundreds of kilometers underneath Paris and are filled with the bones of some 6 million dead people. These people were largely plague victims who started clogging the cemeteries within Paris, to the point that they were overflowing and their bones had to be removed and placed elsewhere. Today, only a very small section of the catacombs is open to the general public. The rest of the tunnel system is extremely dangerous, difficult to access, and completely forbidden. I was lucky enough to find my way into both sides and explore. If you are interested in seeing more of the Paris catacombs or my paranormal investigation within the forbidden side, make sure to hit subscribe. I'll have a full video coming on this very haunted Paris location, as well as many of the other locations you've seen in this video today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Remember, I have plenty more spooky videos from all over Paris coming soon. If you want to read any more on these locations, head to amyscrypt.com. And remember guys, until next time, stay spooky.